Hey guys, a few of you were saying that you wouldn't mind seeing a little more of the bench stuff from me, which I don't mind doing at all. So I still haven't fixed the Bronco from a few days ago, which is not abnormal. I don't run home and fix stuff right away. Sometimes I do, I guess. That's a bit of a lie. Hi, Molly. A baby girl. All right. So, I didn't clean the truck as good as I thought I did on the way home. The tires are still pretty caked with mud, so now they're all dry and flaking all over the place. One of the things I'm going to do, because I don't want to get this to get too boring for you guys. One of the things I noticed, actually, you know what? Let me get all my tools together first, because I know I'm going to need some stuff here. Hold on. So I got most of the stuff I'm sure I'm going to need. Trusty Ryobi. Pretty much everybody's got one of those guys. I'm just trying to think now. I took that part off the shaft. Can't remember what I did with it. I got all the parts, or the screws are in here, I know that. I actually took off the wrong side to start with. That's not good. I did a little bit of work to the truck off camera, so what I've done is I removed the fender well, which was an issue on the trail because I'm basically doing this so if you break that little output gear that's on the end of the front axle shaft for the front drive, that goes into the portal to another gear, then out to the tire. I snapped a couple of teeth off it, bound to happen. The bearing is still good, that's nice. So, the furnace had kicked in, which is still running right now, which is why I'm trying to raise my voice a little bit. Ah, there, it just shut off. Thankfully. Kind of drowns out the neighbors though. Because they're terrible. Alright, so what I've done is I removed the fender and I drilled a hole. Now the biggest bit I got wasn't big enough for my largest tool that I would need on the trail, which is this guy, because it's got a nice long reach on it and it fits these bits, which is also nice when you have this on the trail. You can actually go in through the front of a Wraith or an SEX or something like that, and you can change out the motors without having to remove the transmission or anything, so that's kind of a handy tool. Getting these off was actually more screws than I thought. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws to get this thing off, so I think I'm not going to remove the other one. I'm just going to drill the hole. So the hole ends up being right beside where the shock hoop is, or whatever you want to call that area where the top of the shock is going to go into. So that'll allow me to work on it a little bit easier. So I'm kind of thinking as I do this, I'm going to put it back together and then fix it because I want this to be functional. So I'm going to put this back together without fixing the axle yet, and then we'll see how that goes. Because otherwise I've done that for nothing. It wasn't that many screws. There's one of them I didn't need to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 screws. Okay, let's hope that was all worth it. It's working. I knew it would. So remember, when you're changing this out, there's 2 little sleeves on the top and bottom. Because if you've had trackless vehicles before, because I've had many Summits and Slashes in the past, I'll probably have them again because they seem to come and go from the collection. But they have screws with the shoulders or a hat or top hats or whatever you call them. And the screws on these ones don't have them. They're just a regular screw with a little bit of with a little silver sleeve on them. So that's not on the screw permanently. That's just a little metal sleeve that slides up and down. So one of them were on the trail somewhere. So I bought you have to buy a new knuckle. Or you can't just buy the sleeves on their own. I'm sorry. You have to buy the little kit. Or you have to buy a new knuckle, which comes with 2 of those little barrels, I think. So originally, my plan was to show you guys how I can do this without taking this whole thing apart, but I'm going to because I want to get all the old pieces out. So if you're on the trail and you got to do a quick fix, drilling that hole in the top is going to save you a lot of time, because then you don't have to deal with all this. If you carry a drill on the trail, you're crazier than I am. Because like even after this, I want to get out of the house just because I'm sick of being in the house. It's been over a year now, believe it or not. And I did have a really great job interview last Monday. Company looked good. The boss was nice. His number one guy was somebody I know. I'm not like friends with him, but he's somebody I know in the industry. So he knows I got drive and intellect and all that jazz. We talked about how it would be a field job for service tech, gas technician, gas fitter. I'd be going back to school and all that. And I was down because in a few years you can make some decent money. But the amount of money they want to pay to start doesn't even pay the bills. So it'd be less money than it is to actually pay my bills and then buy gas and food after that. So I won't be doing that. It's only off by a few dollars an hour too, and I couldn't, nothing I could do about it. Okay, so I got the knuckle off and apart now. I was kind of babbling. I don't know if I'll use the babble I was just talking about because it was about not working and shit. But yeah, I want to get out of the house because you run out of things to do. I don't get a lot of visitors, but most of the friends who regularly come over, but I haven't seen in months, if not like months, like a really long time. Like before Christmas, and I've seen some of my friends. They come over and they see the house and what the hell happened? I'm like, yeah, I got that board I actually cleaned. But I think I'll get out for a nice sized trail run maybe after I do this, just to get out of the house and go do something. And right now I'm not going to town on cleaning this. I'm just making sure that there's no metal shards anywhere, because that's real bad. You don't want leftover chunks of metal in here at all. I'm not finding any. So I know in the old gear, there's a couple of pieces impacted into the teeth. That side looks pretty good. It's a little bit rusty on the inside. That's not bad. It's more like discoloration of anything else. She is gonna get re-greased as I put it back together. I got pretty lucky on that one, but yeah, when you change stuff out, always look for any old pieces of exploded parts still existing inside, because you don't want that in your mesh. That'll just break other stuff. You'll get it all back together and fixed, and you'll go to play with it, and it'll say no. I got you in a little tighter now, or a little closer. Hopefully this works out okay. So there's the existing part that's going to get changed out. So that bearing sits on that cup. So if you guys are changing this out, be careful, because that bearing just slides off there, as it should. Like you don't want to have to pull a tool out. Does that make sense? Kinda. So there's a pin right there that's holding this assembly together. Gonna need a small tool or something. Come on, little girly fingers, you can do it. Oh, a little whack. That got her going. Come on. There. Not rusted or anything in there. That's beautiful. So there's a barrel in there as well. They're almost like little MIP shafts. Everything seems to be coming apart okay. There's the missing tooth. Looks like I broke 2 teeth off. One, and they're both kind of like chunks of it are impacted into other teeth. And hopefully the rest of it fell out on the trail. Oh, so you do get a new barrel. Oh, and a new pin on the new ones. Should I use it? You know what? Geez, that's a tough call. Because they're, I might as well change them. They come with it, right? So you might as well. I'll get the old barrel out of there. Bye-bye. Maybe keep them as spares. Not a bad idea. Yeah, I think I'll keep them as spares. I usually always have some kind of knife kicking around. Not today. Almost wanted to jam that in there and things will go flying. So it's just a stock Traxxas one. at my local hobby shop here in Calgary. They're $12.39 plus the GST, so it was like 13 something or 26 something for two of them, because I always try and buy two of things when I break apart. Plus I have three of these trucks, so I'm gonna need more of these. All right, so reverse engineer what I just took apart. So the barrel goes back in. Trying to have the pin going perfectly across the pinhole. That piece goes on. Pin goes, oh, is that the old one? No, we'll get the new pin. Come on. Get in there. There it is. We slide our bearing back on. If I had a new bearing, I'd change it. That bearing is still good. I have no issues with that bearing. It's just while I'm in there, you know, I would like to, but I'm not. So the almighty marine grease. Just getting a little in there on each end of the barrel and pin. That'll work its way around. And we'll get some on there, of course. A good coating. I would say you can't have too much grease, but you can. You can overfill transmissions and diffs to the point where they actually have a resistance. So, sure, grease is fantastic, and you should marine grease everything you work on, in my opinion. But there are times too much is too much. Bearing still in the top. Got to make sure you got all your bearings. Let's see if I can do this with you guys watching. That's going to go that way. That piece. So, should I assemble this first? Sure, why not? We'll put this back together first. Marine grease. Still in the bearing hole. In that piece. We'll put some in that piece. Oh yeah. Or did you guys probably didn't see any of that. Alright, so let me slap this side. Let's slap this guy back together real quick, just a second. So I got those pieces screwed back in, and when you guys, or some of you guys probably started or noticed as I was putting this back together, he's doing it wrong. Yeah, you're right, I was. Don't slide that in there first. You have to get this piece in there first. Push in by the bearing, not the shaft. Oh. That. Doesn't want to go around. You know why? Because I bet you there's freaking still chunks in that gear that I didn't get out of there. That sucks. So, back apart it comes. Alright. So this is what I should have done in the first place. There's a little bit right there. There's a little chunk. The pick is my favorite tool for this. Some guys will use a knife or a screwdriver. Whatever you got handy is probably fine. And if you're an aspiring young dental hygienist, please God, don't start here, because you're going to hurt so many people. But if you're in Calgary and you're trying to save some money, I do have a Dremel, so I could do some at-home dentistry to try and make some side money, I guess. Okay, that was super annoying. That took me a long time to find that little chunk of metal, but finally she's spinning beautifully again. Let me zip this sucker back together, and then we'll show you the thing I almost screwed up on. This guy wants to fall out the back, believe it or not, because there's 3 tiny screws that hold in the bearing. Just like a Kyosho Mini Z. If you ever worked on one of those guys. It's the same deal. The bearings are held in like this. Recently changed out the front, or not recently, but I have changed out the front knuckles on them in the past, and surprise, surprise. Itty bitty screws in the plastic. Don't go crazy. They just got to hold that bearing in there, and they'll do that quite easily. So you just let them sit. You don't even really need to snug them up too tight. Thankfully, that still turns. Okay. I think I forgot to tell you guys the part number of that first bit. which I believe was 8752, something like that. Or 8257 on that part number. And then I also picked up a spare set of knuckles. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need them, but I mainly bought them because I need the new barrels. I probably could have went through my screw kit and found a screw that would work, but at the time when I was on the trail with Joe was super patient with me. We always are when guys break down on the trail. We tease them and bug them and take pictures and stuff, but you know, we always wait. Like a transmission rebuild is probably the most painstaking one, or a motor changeout on a Tamiya we did. But if it's like a half hour or something like that, nobody's got to be anywhere. Sure, fix your shit. Okay, so this is the part. This is the reason why I tried to, or I drilled out that other thing. Let's see if I can get you guys the view. Got light. So I'm just going to set the screw in place. It's got the little shoulder on it. The only way I could get at that screw on the trail when I was out with Joe the other day was to drop the shock, drop the steering and everything to try and get it past the fender. But now with my big old fancy hole drilled in the top, now you could say that I drilled the hole in the wrong place, but the perfect place for where I know if you're looking at it where the screw points to, I would want to drill the hole right in front of the shock, but I didn't want to weaken inside of the plastic. Hopefully you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about here, but that's why I drilled the hole right there. And if you use a ball end, you can get at that top one and the steering one. The steering one works out really nice. But yeah, that should make life a lot easier. I'm gonna do that to the other side as well. All right, the big test. Should be nothing to worry about here. Oh, I need another tire. Oh yeah. Ready to roll again. All right. So without putting the other, the other tire's under it. So that's about it for that kind of fix. There isn't a lot to this one. Keep an eye on your parts. You can replace every part as you go. I like to break parts and then replace them. Even wait till my bearings are quite shot on most things. Unless it's a diff. When diffs start to go, that's something you should really fix properly, because you don't want to destroy gears. 7 mil, 1 nut. Like new, kids. Alright, so much like yourself, I kind of want to get it tested. I'm going to drill out the other side because I know that's going to go. I do have the extra part now in the bag. I am going to have the extra barrels. I'm going to keep these pieces as well. I'll put them in there. They'll go in the backpack. And yeah, we'll see you on the trail. Okay, so still the same day. Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. Truck's going great. I didn't tighten a wheel nut good enough back on. The wheel came loose back there, so I had 3-wheel drive again. I had a little quick of a nightmare, but yeah, it seems to be working fine. But I'm here on East Side River Trail. I almost went to Beaver, but Beaver's big. It's a few hours by yourself. Maybe next time. Maybe tonight. But there's West Side over there. Tons of places to play, but I just saw a half-ton truck go up the pathway. Had a little black mark on the side of it. I couldn't read it, of course. I'm not wearing my glasses, nor does this camera zoom, and I didn't have a camera on either, so I guess that part doesn't matter either, but I found that awfully odd. Maybe there's a report of something bad going on. You never know. There was a dead body found here a couple weeks ago. Sorry, buddy. The truck's running well. Just remember, in this truck, it has high gear only. because she stopped shifting on me a while back, so I toothed her down to like 2 teeth below stock, which I think stock's 15, and now it's got a 13 and it's in high gear all the time. It's all right. Uncensored brushless. It is got the sensor, ESC and motor, but I don't have the wire plugged in. I have the wire, I just don't care enough. Whoa, Jesus. Strike one. Strike two. Oh, it just doesn't like that spot. Strike three. I'm out of here. And now I must redeem myself. Oh, come on. I do kind of miss the 2-speed when it comes to this kind of stuff, because the Bronco just wants to go now. But it's also one hand. Hi, puppy. I know you. As far as the one-handed challengeness of this hobby, this spot's pretty good challenge for one-handedness. And there's one of the 100 reasons I don't bring my dogs on my trail. Glass. Broken glass and used needles and shit always around. Easy there, Bronco. Attaboy. I haven't even touched that water yet and I can smell it. This is April in Calgary. For you guys who know where I'm standing, this is super dry, unbelievably dry. It's going to be a summer of fire bans and forest fires, I'm thinking, in British Columbia, Canada. More than likely in California as well. Super dry in here, except for this shit. Yeah, I may be eating a little bit of my words as I look around. I was here less than a week ago, and this was lower than that. It was not running up there yet. It's actually going all the way around almost, I think. But this is that's a good sign. The water's coming up a bit. So maybe it's starting to melt in the mountains and come down to us. Let's see if I can make it. Current's going out, and oh, come on, Bronco. Shit. Yeah, I timed that wrong, otherwise it should have went a lot better. Much better. Reverse direction of normal. Oh, there we go.
This one's normally reserved for wraiths, or at least something with 2 2s anyways. Portals are a bit of a game changer. Like a soul. So you can do the undercut. Ooh, I ain't going that way. That's easy. But here we go. No problem. Okay, and for the sole reason that then I don't have to type it in later at the end of the video while I do editing. Thanks for watching.